and gentlemen, we got Wam01 on the Holy Roman Empire, DeMuslim on the Ottomans. It's Golden League 2, round of 16, game number 1 of this best of 3. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dry River.
Indeed, and we're going to have DeMuslim open up with a dock here. That's a lovely idea if you think about the fact that usually he's the aggressor, so at least with the Ottomans. So might as well capitalize on the map control and build a dock. And here comes the response from Wam. He wants to go for that Dark Age Spearman approach that we have seen Striker do in the first round. And it's very possible, I'm actually unsure how fast Wam finished his set or what the timing was. But if he tuned into the stream and he saw that strategy that was on Cauldron, he might have gotten some inspiration from that. So it's gonna be interesting to see how he approaches this. In that game, Striker went all the way to 10 or so Spearmen with the HRE, and he could both threaten the dock and also harass the gold mine of the opponent. Let's see if that's going to be the case here.
Yeah, I think one interesting difference to note is that his enemy's fishing boats can't actually shoot, so he's going to have pretty much free reign when it comes to attacking that dock. I'm curious if we're going to see any kind of defense coming through from DeMuslim, because obviously he's got access to things like the military school. His barracks is a little bit cheaper as well, but is that going to be enough to offset the early aggression that we've got coming out here? Probably not. Wam is spending 100% of his extra resources right now on military. Compare that to DeMuslim, who's really kind of focused, at least at the moment, on getting fishing boats out.
Yeah, exactly. Even if you had the military school with the Ottomans, which is not something that DeMuslim has, the train time on those spearmen, or by the time you get to reasonable spearmen amounts, Wam is going to have a larger number of them. So that's actually what Wam is thinking about, and you see he's doubling down on this, dropping a tower with that forward villager. Or is that for a tower? Actually, no. He's sneaking a villager to the north. I love this. He's distracting the Muslim, and he's going to sneak out the villager to the north for fish. I hope so.
This is pretty... Is it? Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a dock out here. It's...
Kind of feels like
we'll have to wait and see. I don't think he's going to go for an outpost, though. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't seem likely that he'd go for an outpost. I don't think he needs it, right? Like, he's more than capable of dealing with this just with the spears. And I think from this point, like, it's very comfortable for Wam. He keeps making spearmen, and that way he's always going to outmass his enemy. He can go up to, like, 10, 12 spearmen until that dock is dead, right? He can just keep making spears. Those spears are always going to have value going up against the Ottomans. They want to go into Spa here. So they're going to always have value. And then at the same time, he's working on his own dock. So he's having a great time over here.
Exactly. I think the big thing to consider is that the Muslim, he's going to lose his dock. Wam will have his own dock, plus he has the Prelate's buff. And more importantly, probably for the Muslim, it's going to be difficult for him to even kill a single one of these spearmen in Dark Age, because Wam will likely pull back the weak ones and heal them. So the cost efficiency of this Dark Age engagement is substantially better for Wam.
Yeah, very true. But we do see a big villager pool coming in from DeMuslim. He's got 4 spears. It looks like if he's not careful, Wam should be able to get this one through. He's baited him away with perfect timing. Villager's going to be pulled as well. He wants to keep this dock alive. How much health is on this dock remaining? That's going to be the big question. We can see he's looking to try and torch it down. Villagers moving in to try and repair. Looks like the scout's going to be going down as well. Spearman getting in on the action and taking out that scout. Villagers still moving in on the front line, and the numbers actually looking pretty decent for DeMuslim. Able to repair the dock and keep it alive. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. DeMuslim with a crazy good Dark Age defense. We're 4 minutes into this game, but I tell you what, we've already seen some battles. That is for sure.
I did not expect the Muslim to be so resilient defending that dock, pulling 6-7 villagers. And the thing I love about this is that it's not like the villagers will be idle for long. They will take the shorefish. Sure thing, it depletes it for the fishing ships a little faster, but the Muslim pulled the villagers. Now he's got a defense there. I wouldn't even be surprised to see him drop an outpost. And those villagers are now extremely effective taking the shorefish.
Yeah, one other thing to note is that DeMuslim didn't lose a single villager in that engagement. The only thing he's lost is idle time from those villagers, but hasn't lost a single villager. So really well done by DeMuslim. Great timing there as well. You know, one more volley from those spears, and it probably would have been the dock going down. And I'm pretty confident Wam could have gotten that dock down had he just committed to it instead of falling for the bait that DeMuslim gave him. So very well played to DeMuslim in that regard.
Exactly. I think Wam could have gotten the dock. For now, he's going to dance back and forth. Keep in mind that there was another accomplishment here for Wam. That's killing the scout of the Muslim. So the Muslim has no idea about this fishing eco, and that's actually one of the hidden advantages that Wam still has.
Yeah, so I think at this point now it becomes more a question about what Wam does and how DeMuslim looks to respond to it. Because for Wam, it's very obvious that he can go up to Castle Age, start taking relics and cause havoc. And how DeMuslim responds to that, that's going to be the question. Because if DeMuslim looks to put on a little bit of pressure in the feudal age, looks to try and, you know, get out a couple spar here, keep his opponent in the base, that's definitely the right decision. Ideally, what we want to see from DeMuslim is some kind of like semi-fast castle. He's done great with this early pressure in dealing with it. He's kept it at bay. And now the question is about that transition. But you can still see just how much damage is being dealt here. We hear the first Vizier point come through. I suspect it's probably going to be the Imams. The Imams will make a huge difference here if that's going to be the case. We'll take a look towards the base of DeMuslim. Actually, it looks like it's going to be the meta running out. I suspect that's what that is. There it is. So the meta going to be coming out. I guess it does also offer some additional bonuses. So extra melee armor actually going to be pretty decisive here in this battle. Let's see what he does. Yeah, he's going to be throwing it on the melee armor. An extra 2 armor here now for these spears. So it's going to be reducing enemy damage from 7 down to 5. That's a massive reduction. So really smart play there by DeMuslim to move into the meta. He's a big fan of this unit and a big fan of the way that the early aggression really links up with it. A-Jumps now coming through though. Twin Minaret Madrasa for DeMuslim. Thrown down in the perfect spot next to his town center. Keeps the berry bushes nice and safe. And it looks like he might now be aware. There he goes. He spots it out. He says, hold on a minute. Now, keep in mind, emergency repairs will not be out here for Wam. Wam with no emergency repairs on this dock. He could potentially extend out the blueprint, but remember, the blueprint no longer gives you emergency repairs. You've got to complete those buildings. So Blade 5555, the pioneer of the technique, definitely going to be crying at the moment, not being able to witness that. But the Ark and Chapel are going to be coming down as well for Wam on the other side of the map. Let's take a look at the Ark and Chapel, though. Have a look at the placement as these spears move across the middle of the map. I want to give it a rating. Let's take a look at this Ark and Chapel and see how well it is positioned. It's pretty decent, isn't it, Lid?
As good as it gets. Really, there was not a real way to incorporate a gold mine into it, so this is as good as it gets, as I said. Nice little fight option over here for Wam. He's up to 60 Spearmen, trying to save the dock like his opponent did. But it's not going to come together. No villager here to repair. Army gets pushed away, but the dock goes down. And that's already good value for DeMuslim.
Question. Can villagers or can fishing boats return to mills?
I honestly don't know.
Because villagers can drop off at docks, right?
Yeah.
And what do you reckon? I reckon no.
I don't think it's possible because I don't think the hitboxes would match up. Now, you might be listening to us and, you know, just say there's no way. But think about it this way. If it's a drop-off site and devs just said, oh yeah, there was never going to be a case where the fishing ship can interact with a mill, then why would you bother doing things or arranging things such that it would be impossible to drop it off? So if there was a chance for a fishing ship to physically interact with a mill, there might be a chance, actually.
We'll have to test that one out. But until we test it, I guess we will just remain unaware. So I think now we've got like this nice little transition period that's coming through. Interestingly, Wam looking to drop down some men-at-arms or pull out some men-at-arms, train some men-at-arms. By the same token, DeMuslim starting to stack up that food. Interestingly, not a lot of villagers here on gold. Only got 3 vills on gold, so no sign of a super fast castle. We're looking to quite happy to stick it out in feudal for a bit longer. The first of the archers going to be making their way onto the front. 2 archers going 2 by 2. Keep in mind he's got the melee armor here on the spears. It's going to help him out on the defensive. But keep in mind there's a lot of spears here. He outnumbers his enemy 2 to 1. Medic could be in trouble. Medic could be in trouble. Doesn't go down though. He gets chased away from the scene. And Wam repelled from this attack by 2 single archers.
Yeah, beautiful micro there by DeMuslim, just extending the lifespan of those infantry units with the matter and then doubling down with the archers. And now his base is nice and secure. On the other side, response from Wam to the archers will actually be some feudal age men-at-arms here, now making an appearance. And as crazy as it sounds like, when you only have a few archers like DeMuslim does, they can be the game changer on the battlefield.
Yeah, they definitely can. At this point, the archer mass is really not that significant. It's only 7 archers. Once you start getting up a little bit higher, up around that 30 to 40 archer mark, that's where it starts to get serious. Because when it comes to how these units match up, remember that the Archer is doing 5 damage with +1. So a total of 6. And the Men-at-Arms has got 4 armor. So they're only dishing out 2 damage for every volley. So obviously, the more of them that you can get, the better. But once you start approaching that 30 Archer number, then you're looking at 2-shotting Men-at-Arms. And that's pretty big. That's pretty impactful.
Indeed, for the time being, it looks like Wam is going to commit very heavily to the Men-at-Arms. He's going to be up to 10 in just a second. Remains to be seen how DeMuslim is going to react to this. He kind of keeps his options open. He could still double down on Feudal Age aggression, or with the resource bank he has, he could flirt with the idea of Castle Age.
Yeah, I suspect it's probably going to be that Castle Age. You want to try and get up there as soon as possible. You don't really want to be messing around with your enemy in the Feudal Age because there's always that risk. You never really know where your enemy's at and how soon they're going to be clicking up the castle. And if you get caught with your pants down and your enemy hits castle and you're not in a position to actually head there, it's a really sour spot, especially if they go something like Burgrave.
Yeah, the Burgrave is the scary detail, right? Especially because Wam's got a pretty functional eco, pretty good eco boosted by those fishing ships. The problem for Wam right now is that his army's getting picked apart. Really good micro once again by DeMuslim, and obviously those archers boosted by the Matter. Once you have a sufficient number of them, they can eat those Men-at-Arms for breakfast.
Yeah, we can see upgrades now starting to come through as well. Archer's looking to pick up +1 ranged attack. It makes a lot of sense in this position to be going for it. Dealing with the Men-at-Arm numbers like he's got at the moment, definitely needs as much damage as he can get. The ranged armor from Wam is already through, and it has been through for a while, so just remember, though, that with that meta, he's going to be able to kite these units away. So there's no real threat of them ever challenging them, challenging the Archers. It's just that they are very slow to kill them.
Yeah, at least for Wam, he's distracting his opponent, and he's actually doing a good job with his aggression on the gold mine. That force distracting the Muslims one, the Muslim pursuing it, means that there is a lot of idle time forced by this army.
Looks like for the moment the Men-at-Arms going to have to fall back. Plenty of villagers in there going idle, weren't there? A lot of woodline vills. But now Wam looks like he might be gunning towards that castle timing. This is where it gets a bit dangerous for DeMuslim. He's only sitting on 287 gold. Has only got a handful of vills on gold as well. So not in any rush. And the Ark and Chapel farming economy is looking pretty good. Wam has got himself set up, and take a look at the villager count difference. There's a villager count difference of 11 at this point in the game, which is kind of crazy when you consider that that these are boosted villagers as well. Yep. You're talking about Ark and Chapel villagers, prelate villagers. I guess the other thing to note with DeMuslim, he does have military schools. Yes. He's got 2 out so far. Third one should be through right now. Let's take a look in the base of DeMuslim. Has he picked up that 3rd military school just yet?
I don't think he did. I'll be surprised if he actually did. Yeah, well, speaking of which, he's just now starting to build them.
There you go. Okay, 3 military schools all coming down at the same time, because obviously he opened with the barracks instead of going into the military school. But I guess that answers the question. It's going to be a Regnitz Cathedral getting dropped down in the front of the base. Dangerous position, but I guess there's no real threat to this. Yep. And at the same time, DeMuslim going to be clicking up shortly. He's got 6 vills. Oh, no, that's like 10 vills on gold. So he knows how important it is to get up to that next stage. And Wam's position looking good.
Yeah,
the question for me is... Yeah. I think the big question is how many relics does he look to secure? He's got 1 prelate in queue, 1 prelate currently. Hopefully he sends that Ark and Chapel prelate out, because with going with the Regnitz Cathedral, you want to try and get as many relics as you can.
Yeah. I think he can think about 3 right now. The 1 close to the pawns and the 2 on his side should be the realistic options, at least for the time being.
All right, well, the mass continues building for DeMuslim. He's got enough gold now to age up. 33 archers. Wam reaches the castle age. So I think one of the big things that Wam can look to do here is, obviously now that he's castle age, he gets his veterancy upgrades. But it's going to be a little bit of time before DeMuslim's got a mass or a mangonel out. And I think there's a world in which Wam can actually go castle or go imperial age here. Obviously, it's going to take some time before... You think he will, or you don't think he will?
I think he will. Look at the food count. He is on course for Imperial, and that should be a pass of Schwabia Imperial. I love that a lot. I think this is such a good option here. He even is investing into Men-at-Arms, but The thing I love about it, Aussie, and I think the reason why he's doing it is because he had that single man-at-arms in the enemy base close to the woodline a minute ago. He saw the exact size of the Muslims' army, and he saw their position. He knew fully well that he wouldn't get punished for a fast Imperial immediately, and that's exactly the case.
All right, well, let's see if it pays off for him. He's still working towards that gold count. First relic is not yet in the bag. Second relic also getting picked up. Third relic about to get picked up. He's up to 5 prelates, which is an absolute huge amount. And he's continuing to come out here on the map, dishing out damage. This is definitely a win condition for Wam. He's just got to be careful, though. There is a potential opportunity for DeMuslim to take the victory, snatch it away from him in the next couple of minutes.
Indeed, timing could be perfect over here, and you see Wam thinking twice about that Imperial is realizing that it is the Muslim who's moving forward. Only a handful of crossbows in here, though. Men-at-arms have been upgraded to costly units. Is this enough, Aussie, to hold Wam?
Yeah, we can see that a lot of gold has now been spent from Wam. He's going to be turning towards knights as a solution to his problem. Also looking to get +2 ranged armor and veterancy on his archers. So realizing maybe a little bit too late that, maybe I shouldn't have gone for that Imperial. Maybe it wasn't worth it. Remember that Mangonel's going to be coming through as well soon. Should be out any second, actually. A little bit of a push coming through. Men-at-arms making their way onto the front. No +2 in just yet. Meta on the front side. Still just dishing out some decent damage here. And I'm starting to get a little bit worried about Wam's position. He's got the reinforcements coming in. He spent all of his resources. 9 knights in queue. 4 men-at-arms on the way through. There's the extra knights.
And no crossbows on the field. That's the more concerning detail. You only have a handful of crossbows on this battlefield, and the archers are just getting absolutely torn to shreds. I think this is enough for Wam.
Looks like Wam's doing pretty solid, but the crossbow mass continues to build. Spahi going to be coming through. And the crossbows are on the back side, so they're well protected by this ball of archers on the front. But at the same time, yeah, Wam's army is looking very solid. He definitely had to go quite hard there in his knight numbers. He's still got 9 knights in the queue at this point in the game.
Now, he needs to be cautious now because the crossbow mass is increasing and they're slowly kiting away, picking off those men-at-arms as they retreat. I don't think that Wam should pursue. He needs to regroup. He needs to possibly think about adding a little bit more cavalry because we're only looking at a couple of spearmen available for the Muslim. If he can loop around with some of the knights, he could get some good charges on those crossbows. But yeah, this second wave could actually be more worrisome than the first one was, actually, because it's right now 2-to-1 army ratio.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And this is exactly where DeMuslim wants to be. He's basically gearing himself up for prime position, and this is prime position right now. Can we take a look at his base and see whether he's got that 4th military school up just yet? I suspect he probably hasn't, just because it does cost that stone, and I haven't seen him gathering any stone yet. So 3 military schools at the front. That's it for him. Oh no, there's the 4th military school. There is a 4th military school somewhere. There it is, next to the Imperial Academy. So he is 100. He's in the final gear right now, 5th gear, heading towards 200 miles an hour. And all these units are going to be rallied out towards this position. 3 units. Hasn't lost a lot of villagers, so he's able to pump non-stop. And Wam's left in a bit of a difficult spot. He wanted to go Imperial, and he knows that that's the win condition. And to be honest, that is, because the longer this game goes on, the harder it gets for him. He's got the relics on his side, though.
Yeah, and he's got a 10 eco lead as well. He's also fortifying those outposts, placing relics inside and equipping them with springolds. So this could still be a challenging dive for the Muslim, and behind this one, there's a flank with Lancers coming in. Now, they do bump into that blacksmith, which kind of makes them ineffective here. They could have done so much more damage on the eco, but Wam is not paying attention to them.
Yeah, just a couple of knights dealing with a blacksmith. Don't mind me, guys. Now this force moving through. Wam with a potential to surround here. Springwood in placement, also going to be dishing out some good, solid DPS.
Okay, Lancers on the move, though. Lancers on the other side, moving in for the Lumberjacks and also for the Hunters. This is perfect for Wam.
Yeah, he just needs to stay alive. This is going to be the big thing. He just needs to stay alive. If he dies to this push...
The Mangonel.
It's exposed. Oh, Wam not even paying attention, but he still gets it. Springled as well as the Knights working well together. And now he looks to be okay. A lot of villagers going down, though. About 10 villagers lost by DeMuslim. Plenty more villagers out here. Mangonel in queue now for Wam. And we got ourselves a big push. Lange Connect together with the men-at-arms on the front, looking to push back all of these archers. Slowly but steadily making his way through. A single meta left in there. Nothing to really focus it down at the moment. A couple of archers on the backside, but it's only a handful. And slowly and steadily, these units do eventually get taken out. Crossbows, as well as the archers, doing a decent job of just constantly kiting back away from the enemy base. And now DeMuslim finds a little opening here, but Horsemen going to be coming out. Hello. Long time since we've seen these guys.
Yeah, this army is so battered over here for DeMuslim. He can kite away for a time being, but the meta is gone. This is going to be a slow cleanup here with the archers, with the horsemen. And once that's done, we're looking at a 17 eco lead here for Wam. Those Lancers really paying for their price. And now the Mangonel, that should be the dot on top of the eye. DeMuslim's army is mostly going to be gone.
Top rope comes through. Oh, it's gone a little bit wide, unfortunately. Beautiful dodge there from DeMuslim. Watch out for him. He's done this a million times before. Is he just going to send the single Mangonel to chase everybody down? Oh, he gets the shot off. Oh, my lord, he gets the shot off from the top rope. I didn't expect it to do that much damage. I didn't even think it would hit. I have no idea how he connected that, honestly.
That was a lovely hit, and now Wam has to feel good about this game. 16 eco lead, has 4 relics plus 2 sacred sites. Sure thing, DeMuslim has a second wave coming, but it's not like this is the most intimidating thing that Wam has ever faced. He's got a Mangonel at least to defend against it.
And the villager count is more in his favor at this point.
Yep.
The relics have continued ticking the entire time. DeMuslim still yet to pick up his safe relic on his own side of the map. But at least does start neutralizing sacred sites. North and south being neutralized. Villagers make it through onto the other side. Now for the moment, Wam has a sigh of relief as he holds the attack. And begins moving into Lange Connect together with Horsemen by the looks of it.
Yeah, Landsknecht are increasing in numbers, and given the fact that DeMuslim has mostly crossbows in there, the Landsknecht are actually a very good solution to that. Obviously, you want to have some level of meat shield in front, like Horsemen, that's perfectly fine. But yeah, this is a scary army to face for DeMuslim. And I just don't see how he can now push into the base of Wam here, and Wam still has a very much functional economy.
See, there's a part of me that says, okay, you know, DeMuslim's window for winning is closed. But then I remember playing against this one Ottoman player. I can't remember his name. It was Japanese script. But I tell you what, he was 1 TC, and for 40 minutes he fought me like he was 27 TC. His economy was amazing. So never count out an Ottoman player, especially when they're on 1 TC. These guys just don't stop going. So yeah, watch out for him. Even though Wam's economy's looking solid, he's picked up plenty of relics and he's got that Ragnitz working overtime. Yeah, there's always the possibility here for DeMuslim to put a, you know, just a random hook and connect it.
Indeed, that's very true. Like, those military scores are giving you a lot here, and that offsets a lot of that eco deficit. That being said, you can't allow freebies like those knights had a couple of moments ago. DeMuslim can't really afford to lose much more eco than this, because then it's just gonna be way too feeble to fight the HRE. But as you said, army numbers are actually on the side, or army advantage is on the side of DeMuslim right now. But these are really good picks here for Wam. And as I said, these are losses that DeMuslim can't afford.
Yeah, that's exactly the case. And we can see the villager count really starting to drop down now. 20 villages, the difference between these two. And keep in mind, Wam's obviously got the relics working for him as well, so things are going to be going in his favor. He's got a pretty decent food income as well, so Imperial could be a possibility for him, but he's going to keep making units. You can see 8 horsemen in queue at the moment. So I love the fact we've got the walls coming up here as well. It's going to make a really solid defense.
Yeah, Wam's army isn't the fastest on the planet. And also don't forget, he's invested quite a lot into those fortified towers. So he kind of wants to funnel the enemies towards one direction, and he can kind of accomplish that by at least dropping some walls, possibly convincing DeMuslim that he shouldn't go to the north. Instead, looks like DeMuslim is still going to head that way because the walls are incomplete. Wam is there to meet him. This is a tricky one. Either side could take a good fight, and I think whoever takes a good fight here could have the game. That includes DeMuslim even.
Yeah, but I like the fact that Wam has got the siege, though. That's the difference, but we do see DeMuslim rolling off a Mangonel from his line as well. He's going to be moving out towards this central position. Springald in placement, firing off. Together with the Mangonel, going for a shot. Looks like it's just going to hit a couple of cavalry units, but the mass is looking good for DeMuslim. He's up 30 military pop at the moment. The question's going to be whether he can make it work. The split's coming through. All the units beginning to move in. The Janissaries on the back line as well together. We're going to try and take out some of this siege. Lanchknecht coming in for a defensive maneuver. 3 meta out here. Good luck taking out all of those. And look at the horsemen coming up the rear with the gear. The question is, where's the target? It's such a difficult spot to try and fight under. No possibility of boiling oil here. I'm sure right now that he'd love a keep, but unfortunately it's just going to be a little outpost. Tries to get those horsemen in on the backside, but at the same time, there's just an absolute traffic jam. Mangonel making its way through, getting repaired up by the villagers, trying its hardest to find a connection, but unfortunately everything is missed like a Craigslist ad right now, and all of the numbers from DeMuslim are capitalizing, things looking bad for Wam, and there is trouble in paradise, Lidakor.
Oh boy, the Mangonel went for the mango of DeMuslim, and I'm not sure if that was the original plan for Wam. Maybe he just misclicked it, because it would have been so much more valuable to just have that Mangonel stationary and fire upon the archers. There was nothing from Wam that really threatened those archers or crossbows even. And as I said, whoever takes one good fight here could easily have the game, and right now that seems like it's DeMuslim, because Wam has no more juice left on the army department.
Yeah, there's just nothing left, and I mean at this point, you know, despite the advantage in the economy, Wam's just not going to be able to achieve anything here. Sorry, I may have had a baby delivery during this game. He's helping out with the cast. I'm not sure if you can hear him, but he's very enthusiastic about it, I assure you.
Ram's now coming in here for DeMuslim. Wam, he's trying to regroup, but as you said, Ottoman players, they will just flood you with those units, and now you have full production from those military schools. And DeMuslim is just down by 10 ecos, so it's not like his economy is feeble compared to what Wam has. He can match his numbers simply with production, and then have a substantially better numbers when you account for the military schools as well.
Yeah, it's looking good for DeMuslim, but at the same time, Wam holding on. He's still got 4 relics in the bag, and keep in mind, those are still going to keep ticking. So somehow, some way, Wam decides he's not going to give up. He's never going to surrender. But look at this, all of the farmland going to be burned down. Slowly but steadily, these battering rams going to be working their magic.
Yeah, and that's just going to hurt the sustainability for Wam. Even if he cleans this up, his eco is going to be left so feeble. He's got 10 idols right now. He has lost his villager advantage. Now these gold miners have to run for their lives. And as you said, all the farmland is going to be burned down. So even if he survives this, the question is what's left from his base as he moves on to, let's say, minute 30.
Villagers trying to make their escape through the north. Only one goes down. Second one going to fall as well. Not a bad little escape. A great escape indeed. But now look at that. 45 villagers taken out by each other apiece. 45 versus 45. That's how close this game is. And we've just got cleanup after cleanup.
Yeah, these horsemen are actually making it work. Wam had a couple of horsemen snuck behind enemy lines, and they are the ones equaling things out. Probably partly the reason why they are, or why Wam is still in this game. It's a nice retreat by DeMuslim, but it also means that the Rams have been abandoned, so they've been taken down by Wam. And Wam actually lives to see another day, partly because of the distraction due to those horsemen.
Yeah, it was a pretty smart move from him. And now coming up towards the north, we'll have an opportunity to take out more villagers. I love the way that he's mixed in the Janissaries here as well. Mangonel taking off a shot. And, I mean, at this point, if we were to do a stock take, who do you give the advantage to, right? Like, you've got 50 villagers versus 48. You've got military schools versus relics. Who even wins here?
This is so tough, right? HRE, especially if you have a very functional farming eco, which I think is still there for Wam, their food income is insane. Passive gold, looking really good for Wam as well. So his economy is looking sharp, probably better than what you have for DeMuslim. Then again, on the other side, as you said, you have the military schools. So I think it's one of those cases where it's so indecisive that neither of the players will be able to secure a gigantic lead on the army department. So I think this is one of those cases where we could see this game go longer, possibly 40 minutes, 50 minutes, maybe even an hour at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those. And it's such an interesting game, right? Because it's not like the typical, we're both on 130 villagers spamming out elite units. It's a very scrappy game. So many worker kills this game. You know, each player sitting on 53 workers, each player sitting on 49 and 48 worker kills. It's just, it's crazy how many workers have been killed this game. And yeah, I mean, I think it all goes back to that decision to go for Imperial. It just kind of put Wam on the back foot and meant that he wasn't really able to go as aggressive as he probably should have. And now he's paying for it. But at the same time, he's looking to rebuild.
Yeah, I think his position is still decent, especially because he sneaks past. And one thing that he has as an advantage compared to his opponent is that he has walls up. So it's much more difficult for DeMuslim to raid. Whereas here, he's getting raid after raid. And that's what's keeping him in this game right now.
Yeah. One of the things I love about the military schools is irrespective of all the raids that are coming through, it doesn't matter. I'm still producing units. So that's what I love about those military schools. And I love the way that he's just mixing in these Janissaries as well. Still got 7 of them out on the field. Going to be so effective at dealing with the cavalry here from a distance. Villagers do get baited away, but then decide to fall back. And Spears making their breakthrough. Should be able to clean these up. And Wam slowly taking villagers away. He's picked up quite a few, and take a look at that. Ooh. We've got a Palace of Swabia on the way. I tell you what, I don't know how DeMuslim's feeling at the moment, but I would suspect if I see my enemy hit Imperial in this game, knowing that I'm against the Holy Roman Empire, I can't help but feel the need, the desire to tap out, right? Look, you're on 46 vills, you're 31 minutes in, you know you've killed a lot of enemy villagers, but you don't know how many, and now they've hit Imperial. You're not in any chance or any position to challenge that. Can't help but feel like you'd have to throw in the towel.
Well, I would love to agree if this push wasn't perfectly timed, right? Like, this is perfect timing. Yeah, this is perfect timing. I mean, this is coming in right now at... this is an all-in timing. I wouldn't be surprised if we see villagers get pulled here from DeMuslim. He's got a couple units here sitting on the backside, but everybody needs to come to the front right now. Imperial hits. DeMuslim's got one last shot to make it count. If he loses this, the scaling from the Palace of Swabia is just going to be too great. But the Mangonel fire. Wam was waiting for this.
It was a big shot, and manages to get the Mangonel through. He's trying, he blocks himself. He's blocked them both out. No, Wam! What has he done? He's moved all of the Mangonels and Spears away at the same time, loses both of them as a result, and only left with a single Springald. It looks like a huge throw coming in from Wam as 3 more Mangonels move forward from DeMuslim, and he looks to try and finish off this game. He's got Springald in placements on those outposts to try and hold on a little bit longer. Look at them firing through. 1, 2, where's the third one? Not yet firing, unfortunately, but I tell you what, the spear defense could be the difference. He's got elite spearmen coming through. We've seen it win games before today. Will we see it happen once again? That's going to be the big question on everybody's mind. Will the elite spears hold? Villagers going to be heading towards the main town center. There's not enough room for all of you guys in there. Don't even bother going for it. Spearmen making their way through. They've got the elite upgrades now.
And villager losses don't matter. They don't matter because you got the Palace of Swabia, and on the other side, the Horsemen came in, and the Springald came in to snipe the remaining Mangonels. Mangonel's now gone, and you will have to retreat here if you're DeMuslim with these archers. A couple more Horsemen will clean this up. I don't see reinforcements coming in here for DeMuslim. There's nothing coming through this map right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Did he lose the barracks that he was... Never mind, it's good game. What an absolute nail-biter of a game. Incredible stuff right there. Coming out from DeMuslim and Wam. And the first game in this series going to be taken by Wam.
What a game indeed. Just so back and forth. For a long time, it seemed like DeMuslim is just going to finish this game, especially with the beating that Wam has taken at around minute 25. But then the game slows down and that HRE eco really kicked in. And don't forget, Wam was always able to raid his way back into the game. DeMuslim had insane momentum at like minute 25, minute 28. But after that, those raids come in and it shut down DeMuslim's eco so much that Wam was able to get to Imperial. But look at that. Always better army numbers for DeMuslim. Couldn't ever really dive the base of the opponent, though, partly because of those Springald towers.
Yeah. The Springald towers was so pivotal in that game. And I think it's part of the reason why I think this format doesn't really affect the Holy Roman Empire as much, just simply because they're not going to be looking to put the relics in their keeps, but rather they're going to be looking to put them inside their outposts. All right, well, we move on to game number 2. So I didn't see what the bans were for the civilizations, but my suspicion is English together with the Mongols have probably been banned out.